Hey guys, so it is once again late at night. It's already almost midnight and I am doing a video because I can't seem to find time to do it any other time. I have been trying to redo this video. This is another case of I had it done and you already know the story. Okay, so this is going to be about Abrielle's speech delay update. She actually already had her evaluation. We had the appointment on May 4th and we went in and I was super nervous the whole time because I kind of already knew how it was going to go. And basically, we got maybe a couple answers, but it brought up a lot of new questions that we haven't really thought about, and some of it is stuff that I think would be difficult for kind of any parent to have to consider and think about in regards to their child. So basically what happened? What happened is this: when it comes to Abrielle's reception and her ability to understand and comprehend things, she scored very well. She's not behind at all. She actually scored at 2 years and 3 months, so it put her in the 55th percentile and 2 months ahead of kids her age. So she did really well there. And the therapist actually showed her some 3-year level stuff in that book. She had like this big paper book that had lots of pictures, and she just flipped pages and asked Abrielle, where's the spoon, where's the whatever, and it might have anywhere between 3 and 5 images, or it might be a series of things. Like there was one picture that she showed Abrielle that had a bunch of babies, I think like 5 babies maybe, sitting beside each other, and all of them were crying except for one of the babies, and she asked Abrielle which baby wasn't crying. So it was basically stuff like that, and she actually played with Abrielle to see how she would interact. They had a picnic and things like that, and I just kind of sat there in the corner of the room and observed, and some of it I was like, yes Abrielle, because I knew that she knew it, and then some of it was all I could do to like keep my mouth shut, because Abrielle was trying to do some of the things that the therapist wanted her to do or was asking her, but it wasn't in the way that the therapist wanted it, and because of Abrielle's communication barriers, the therapist wasn't understanding. Like at one point, the therapist had asked her to locate the shoe in the picture, and Abrielle was trying to swing her leg up and show the therapist her shoe on her foot, and the therapist thought she was trying to get up. So, but when it comes to Abrielle's like her vocabulary or her speech, she didn't do well, and I knew she wasn't going to. I was already expecting this to be that way, but she scored in the 2nd percentile, and it put her at 1 year and 3 months, which is almost an entire year behind. And in talking to the therapist, Abrielle is definitely going to be doing speech therapy from now on. There is a waiting list currently to get into this place, and it's going to take at least a month, if not more, for Abrielle to start doing her therapy sessions. Once she's in therapy, she'll be going once a week, same day, same time, and during those sessions, the therapist told me what I can expect to happen is they're going to be working with Abrielle to build her vocabulary up, and to possibly, because it's going to be with the same woman, I did request her to possibly find a diagnosis or a cause, because we left there with no diagnosis. Just off the 1-hour evaluation that she had with Abrielle, she said that she didn't see anything that indicated any kind of learning disability or anything, like flat out. But I did tell her all of Abrielle's history. I told her about the complications during my pregnancy, the preeclampsia, the cord, how she stopped growing, the spina bifida marker, the fact that she was born with that little dimple and that tuft of hair and stuff, and the doctors refused to do an ultrasound and check for any closed spina bifida because they said, oh, she's fine. And I was really shocked in ways about what the therapist had to say about all that. She really validated my concerns, and this is something that I have pushed with her pediatrician since she was born, and 2 years later, now I have a doctor saying they should have been checking into this stuff from the beginning and no one checked. So I think it's time to possibly switch pediatricians. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to think about that, because the pediatrician that actually referred her over for the speech therapy was not her normal pediatrician. He was on vacation, so I made the appointment with the same woman that Abrielle had saw back in January when she had RSV. So another thing that got brought up was the whole cord thing. For anyone who's a newer follower, basically Abrielle had issues late, like in my 3rd trimester, closer to her delivery, she stopped growing. They couldn't figure out why. Her fluid was going down. Everything just started looking bad. She started failing her biophysical profiles, and that's actually what ended up determining the fact of doing the C-section, because she was dying inside of me and they couldn't figure it out. When she was born, the doctor peeped over the curtain and asked me if he could take a picture. I am pretty certain that if a doctor asks you if they can take a picture of whatever it is, that's not a good thing. That means it's rare, or they don't see it very often, or it's really weird or something. So, I let him. But basically, her cord was tied in what they refer to as one true knot, and it had been cutting off her oxygen and her blood flow and all her nutrients and stuff, and they don't know how long it had been that way. They are guessing that it probably happened early on in pregnancy when she could still move around. She probably flipped around and got tied up. But as she grew and as the pregnancy progressed, that knot got tighter and tighter, and she ran out of space. And so the effect of it on her became more pronounced. And the pediatrician at that hospital where she was born, who looked her over, told me that she might develop similar to a preemie. And Abrielle has kind of hit milestones a little bit more behind her age group, and I don't know if it would sync up with like what her weight and what she was looking like on the ultrasounds versus what I actually was gestational age wise. I've never checked into that. That's something I should look at and see. But I've always thought, okay, I know what the doctor told me, I know what he said, and I've always kind of went by that. I don't know if this is a case of this is something I should have pushed harder, or maybe this is a case of my doctors failed me and didn't catch something that they should have caught, because the therapist brought up a condition, and I don't even know, I wouldn't even try to say it. It started with an O, and it was basically a long fancy word for brain damage that is caused by oxygen deprivation during pregnancy or during birth. And what's going to happen is once Abrielle starts going there, she is going to be referred over to a neurologist, and they're going to want to run an MRI and some other tests on her to look at her brain further and see if there is some kind of brain damage that could be causing the speech delay. Her therapist told me that that's something that she wants to do just as a precaution and to rule, that chance out. She said, though, that looking at Abrielle appears normal minus the speech. That's the only thing really where she is not matching up with her peers, and that's where our concerns really lie. So in the meantime, while we are waiting on a slot to open up so she can start therapy and to be referred over to a neurologist to have some more tests done and to look at that possibility closer, what we are supposed to be doing at home right now is going through flashcards with her. We actually bought her some, trying to slow down our words when we talk to her and really emphasize the sounds and how our mouths form the words. And also, we were supposed to be teaching her baby sign language. And the therapist, when we were up there, she showed me a few things. Oh man. Oh gosh, you guys. All I can say is teaching Abrielle sign language is proving to be really super difficult. I decided that instead of trying to teach her a lot of words all at once, that maybe it'd be best to just focus on one. So we've been focusing on eat. And I can't get her to do it back. It's like, this is as difficult as getting her to say a word back to you. Like, currently, Abrielle says 7 words. And I know that there's things, that she can say, like the dog and cat and no, and when you ask her or you try to encourage her to say them, she won't say them back. So I'm finding that this baby sign language is really tough. I've gotten I've looked up videos online on YouTube, and I've tried to get her to sit down and watch them with me, and she has no interest in them. And I'm just kind of at a loss. Like, I don't know what to do except just keep doing it over and over and over, and hopefully eventually she'll start doing it back to me. Basically, that is what's happening, and as Abrielle progresses, as she starts treatment, and as we know more, I will continue to update you guys on Abrielle's speech delay. So that's going to be it for this video. Bye, guys.